Going back to play the recent remaster of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, I fell in love with so many aspects of the game again. The combat feels fluid no matter the playstyle, the storytelling in the world is dense, and I forgot how good the menus are. For the uninitiated, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is a role-playing game with some pretty fantastic action combat. It was originally released in 2012, but there was a recent remaster that got me playing the game again. It takes place in a high fantasy setting, full of a ton of story. Gameplay skills break into might, finesse, and sorcery, with a couple different weapons for each class. You can mix and match between the classes to make whatever build you want. Beyond combat, the side activities include stealing, potion crafting, blacksmithing, and lots of talking to people. Most of the game involves getting a quest, killing a bunch of enemies, and heading into town to gear up and do it all again. It's pretty familiar territory, but navigating through the game's menus is so quick. It feels so fast and snappy to navigate the menus in the game. Starting with the main menu. It's basic, and for me, that's a good thing. The menu loops when you get to the top and bottom. On a controller, this is important for speed, and it's odd how this gets forgotten sometimes. I love Borderlands, but menus are not its strong suit. In Borderlands 3, this is not an option. When you want to exit the game, or you're sorting through your loot, you can't do something as simple as loop through the menu. The main menu also loads fast. It helps that it's just a picture. But why do you need a fancy main menu anyway? The main menu is really just for getting into and out of the game, with an ability to mess with the options. Sure, the main menu in Borderlands 3 is fun, with Claptrap running around in the background doing goofy stuff, but I don't want to see a loading screen when the most I'm going to do on the main menu is just change some options. Next is just opening the inventory. It opens so fast, which seems odd to say, but I feel like some modern games have gotten away from this. In my beloved Borderlands, it takes a while to just pop up the menu because they want to pop up so much on the screen. It's nice to see Kingdoms of Amalur figured out a fast way to still include the character on screen with all of their loot, without taking forever to do it. The star system helps you easily see what the new items are, and the red hands help to identify stolen items. This star system is fantastic when comparing items to see what you want to keep and what you want to junk. It's also easy to see what a stolen item is, just in case there are NPCs that care if an item is stolen or not. The drop-downs that you get at items, you look at the most. This isn't a loot filter per se, but it serves the same function. If you just want to work on upgrading hammers as your melee weapon, that's all you have to look at. Junking an item removes it from the pool. This feels so fantastic to see after coming from the menus of Borderlands 3. Removing junk from my view makes things so much easier to navigate. When repairing items, you have the option to repair all. I love seeing this because it is such a great quality of life thing that it's easy to overlook. Borderlands didn't have a refill all ammo button until the 4th game in the series, and Kingdoms of Amalur came out the same year as Borderlands 2. Something small is that the game reacts immediately to every button press. That seems silly to say, but I feel like recent games have gotten away from this. I like the fact that I can mash the button to get through menus. I do have to give modern games a tad bit of leeway though, because many require an internet connection that might slow down the menus. Another modern game menu gripe I have is removing the exit button. Some games have started to migrate it under the settings. Fall Guys has exit as the furthest button in the settings menu. I understand wanting to keep your players in the game, but trapping them in the menus is not the way to do it. At any rate, I highly recommend Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. So far, I haven't noticed too many differences between the original and the remaster, but the game is good enough I'm glad I bought it again. To recap, here's what I think makes a great menu. Speed, looping, marking new items, removing junk, some kind of filtering, bulk actions, and having an accessible exit button. I've tried to keep these things in mind when making my own games. I always make sure you can loop between the top and bottom buttons. I try to keep main menus simple. Menus react immediately to button presses. I just try to keep in mind that the menu should not be the game, but just a way to start the game. So that's been my essay about menus in Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, or why the menus in Borderlands 3 suck. If you want to judge the menus of my own games, you can download those games on GameJolt, itch, and IndieDB. I also have a balance game available on Amazon devices. If you want to follow me on social media, I have a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook you can stalk me at. If you like me enough and want to give me money to make more games and videos, you can do so at Patreon under Ryan S. Peterson. And here's another shout out to my Patreon, Shilu. Thanks for watching and have fun sleeping!